Well, welcome everybody to the webinar. Speaking of mini magnets, you guys still absorbing those, checking those out on your order prints charts, utilizing those? Was that helpful for you? Helping you to be able to spot some good push-offs of the market and some good possible reversal points and hesitation points and possible chop points? Good, good. Okay. Well, today's webinar is going to be a little bit different. I know you never believe me when I say I'm going to try to keep it short. Stop laughing, Marion. I see you laughing already. But today, on Friday, I'm going to try to keep it short. I don't want to keep you guys too long today. Plus, we've got another webinar here in an hour, hour and a half. And want to keep this one a little bit short. But I want to go over with you. This is going to be, Order Prints Advanced Training Part 2. Going to be short, but I want to go over a couple things with you that I want you to really start paying attention to. And it might be something that you haven't really even thought about or noticed on order prints. And I want you to start looking at it and maybe even do a little back testing and some replay over the weekend and start seeing these, and it might open your eyes up to a whole lot of things you never even thought about. And then next week on Advanced Order Prints Part 3, we're going to kind of build on kind of what I'm going to go over today and show you some other ways to use it for some potential trading, but definitely as well for some trailing stops. That was one of the things we talked about when I covered trailing stops last week, was that we'll build on that a little bit with some of these order print advanced trainings. Okay, so that's one of the things that we are going to do here. And then later today, what do we got later today? We're going to cover the mentor group a little bit, and kind of the final week of open house, being next week. We're going to kind of talk a little bit about what to expect next week, kind of what we're going to do, some ways to, make the most of it, and just kind of get us prepped for next week to kind of rock and roll those last few days of open house and review some really cool things that we've got coming up with some more webinars with the mentor group. And then next Thursday, I'm going to give you a little bit of sneak peek at some of our revamped courses that I've told you about, some new trades, some new another new potential indicator that I might be able to release to you next week, just depending on some timing there. But going to be coming out very soon, something I'm super, super excited about. So definitely be with us again later today as well. Okay. And I'm going to do a little bit different today as well. I'm not, Randall, I'm not getting much sleep. I'm not going to go through a bunch of PowerPoint stuff here with you. I've got some screenshots, and I want to make sure you really see these screenshots well. So I'm going to go through some of these shots, and I'm going to enlarge them a little bit here. And again, this is just going to be real brief. I want you to start paying attention to this on your order prints charts. Start looking for these, okay? Have you ever noticed on your order prints chart or any chart when the bars start moving fast? Okay, with the power play training, we've talked about chop. We've talked about seeing the bars in chop, but then we've also talked about the bar timer, where you see the bar timer get really big. There could be chop within a single bar when you look at the bar timer, right? So we've talked about bars chopping, and we've talked about bars taking a long time. Now I want to kind of flip that on its other end and talk about bars that don't take a long time, okay? And we do actually have an indicator called the apex velocity bar indicator, where a bar just goes in an instant. But we'll talk about that next week. But you can also look down here at your actual timestamps, okay? And have you guys ever noticed, what you might call a velocity bar or a fast bar, where those bars they just take off, right? Okay. And I want you to start noticing something about those. And have you ever noticed, just for a quick example right here, we've got a little bit of chop, and then we've got some bars that break down. And check out the timestamp, 1103, 1103, 1103, boom, 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 right? And yeah, that can be frustrating right at your entry. Okay, right, Chip? Which is another good reason, if you're a futures trader, for example, you've got your order waiting there. Okay, but I want to show you something to think about. Okay, And Chip, you kind of set me up there. What is the one thing that we've been talking about? Okay, because Chip said, yeah, that's kind of frustrating right at the entry when it takes off. Okay. What's something that we've talked about quite a bit in some webinars recently, or even yesterday on the Nadex webinar? I wasn't even planning on covering it, but somebody brought up, man, I hate that. I enter those trades and, you know, the market starts to go down, but it never hits my strike price. It comes back and hits me and knocks me out at expiration, and then it goes down. Or what have we talked about before of, hey, what's a great thing about power plays with the market retracing? Oh, we get a second entry. And then what's the flip side of that? Is you guys like, man, it always comes back and hits me right away. And remember we talked about kind of like a step back for a minute and go, oh, duh, right. I know it's going to pull back, so I should expect that pullback. I shouldn't tighten my stop too much, or I could wait for the second entry. Okay. Now, sometimes the market just moves fast all around, right? And sometimes in those fast moving markets, there's not always a whole lot we can do. But Chip, right here in this, now I'm not going over power play setup, so don't be like, is this a setup? I'm actually just going over order prints here itself, okay? And some general stuff. But like right here where these bars, 1103, 1103, 1103, they just shot down. Okay, let's say there was some type of entry up here, Chip, and oh man, I missed it, the market shots down. What did the market do on the next bar? Pulled back, right? See that? There are a lot of times when you get those quick bars that you will have the market pull back, okay? Now, sometimes the market, so keep that in mind, Chip, like, oh man, it's frustrating, I missed that entry. And it can be frustrating, and sometimes it just takes off. Like it just goes 50 points without you, right? But a lot of times be ready for that of, okay, hey, I might get a quick pullback. So it doesn't necessarily mean I missed the entry. I might still be able to get an entry there. Because if you go back and look, you'll see a lot of these, all right? But something else I want you to pay attention to, not just the timestamps of the bars and when they move fast, and normally these will coincide, but take a peek at something here. Look at the numbers in the bar. I think the one aspect of order prints that we've not really touched a whole lot on, or you might not have really thought a whole lot about paying attention to, I think sometimes we get so wrapped up in clusters and bolts and mini magnets and all those things that are super important, like those are the most important aspects of it. We kind of just look at all these numbers here, you know, on the buy, the executed buy and the executed sells. We just look at those numbers as they're just in there to give us all the formulas for all these important things. And technically they are, right? Our most important things are those bolts and mini magnets and all that. But I want you to start paying attention to two things, okay? Do a little testing on this weekend, and we'll build on it next week. For one, look at those quick bars when they happen, and see how often when they happen you get a pullback, okay? But you also got to think about what that means when a bar happens so quickly. Is if the market moves that fast, there's a pretty good chance it didn't fill a lot of orders in that area, right? There might be some orders still sitting there, right? Have you ever had an order in to get in or to exit and the market went past it? You know what I mean? Or it shoots down and hey, there's some more orders there, let's go back up. Take a quick look at something, right? Look at some of the numbers in these bars right here, all right? You know, like 30 and 58 and 89 and 87, 109, you know, in the 50s and the 60s and the 30s. What do you see start to happen right in here on the opposing side? You see that 2, 0, 4? What about here? 2, 5, 6, 1, 5, 1, 4. Do you notice those numbers thinning out? Yeah, Dan, you just said it, right? Yeah, do you see kind of that imbalance? You see that thinning out, especially when you see like some higher numbers and then you start to see single digit numbers. Okay, now normally that will coincide with these super quick bars. okay? But sometimes you'll more just notice those thin numbers. And then what do you kind of see happen? Where do these numbers really kind of start thinning out? Right up here in this bar, right? Kind of in this area right in here. See that? Does that make sense? Everybody kind of see what I'm talking about? That's kind of where they really start thinning out, is right in here and right in here. And the market shoots down, and where does it pretty much retrace to? Right about that same level where they really started to thin out. Does that make sense? See that? Let's take a look at a couple other examples here. I want to go through several of these with you, okay? All right, so right here, market's coming down, and notice there's a little thinning right in here, and it pops back up, right? And then what happens here when you get the market really shoot down? Okay, and notice these are quick bars as well, but it really shoots down. What do you see happen like right in here? Like you got 47, 22, 31, 25, 9, 1, 1, 0, 0, 2, 0, 2, 1. You see that where it went to single digits? See that? Thins out. And where did it start thinning out in here? We're in the 40s, the 20, 25, right in here at the 9 and the 1 area. And then see that? And where did this bar pull back to? Right almost to that exact level. See? And it shot, I mean, those are really thin numbers. It even pulled back up to it again. You see that? And a lot of times, you'll see this happen in different places, but a lot of times you'll see it happen like kind of what you just said, Chip. So it happens a lot right after a breakout or right at the beginning, you know, closer to an entry. You'll see this a lot of times just a few bars in. Okay, like right at an entry, or, you know, like Lori and I were talking about it. Lori's like, yeah, I see that a lot. Like when I get in a trade and I start to be up in profit like 5 to 7 ticks, 5 to 8 ticks, and then I see that, boom, right? Yeah, Randall's kind of going back to pick up those price levels that kind of shot through. And there's still some order sitting there, okay? Or, you know, sometimes it might be that the market shot down quick. So people that got in later are like, oh, let's go south and put my stop real close. And let's grab you and keep going. Okay? And so have you guys ever seen that? Like right at, even if it's not right at entry, sometimes you're able to get in the trade, starting to go your direction, you're up 5 or 8 ticks, and it zips down, right? And all of a sudden you're up 5 or 7 ticks, and then it zips way down, and suddenly you're up like 17 ticks, right? You're like, oh, sweet. I love that. You guys seen that? Where you love it. You're up 5 or 7 ticks, and then boom, now all of a sudden you're up 17 ticks. And you're like, oh man, this is great. This is going to be a big one. And man, I want to pull that. I want to protect that profit real quick. And you move your stop up too quickly. And then what happens every time? Boom. Like it just pops in your way. It comes back and gets you. Same thing we've talked about where you're just out in the middle of traffic. And I know that's something Lori and I were talking about this week, how, you know, when she sees that, she loves that. And she's learned when she sees that happen, like when she gets in that trade, she's up 5 or 7 ticks, all of a sudden, you know, boom, it shoots down 2 bars. You're up 17 ticks. Expect this pullback. Don't tighten your stop too quickly, okay? I mean, if you stick with the rules we talked about with trailing, you should be fine here. But just make sure when you see that, you don't get overly excited and deviate and move your stop too quick. Because what you're going to expect to happen is for it to pull back around to that level and then what? Then shoot down a little more. So if you pulled up too tight and then got hit there, you missed the rest of that pop. Okay, because a lot of times when you see that, it'll pop, pull back, and pop again. Okay? And after that second pop, I mean, it might just slow down and keep on going down. But I want you to be aware of this, all right? Pay attention to the timestamps when those bars happen quick, but also pay attention to where those numbers start thinning out. Do you see that? Now, Let's keep going, and I'm going to come back and go over a few different things here. How about right here? Market's coming down, market's coming down. Now you can clearly see here where it thins out and it comes up, but it even pulls back up a little further on this one, okay? This one, where does it pull back to? Well, pretty much right about the chop, breakout level there, which we've seen that many times, right? We know that it can pull back to the chop breakout. Does it happen every single time? Not every time, okay? But a lot of times we do have a pullback there, and you'll oftentimes see that pullback happen right after one of those quick bars or some thin number bars. Then that pullback will happen. So if you're ever wondering, like, okay, we had a little breakout of chop, it's not 100% of the time, but a lot of times when you're wondering, hey, when will that pullback possibly be? When will that, second entry potentially be? Well, sometimes it'll be after like a thin bar. And then you're like, okay, cool. Now it's going to pull back close to like, yep, like that POC level, which is right at the break of that chop. Okay, does that make sense? So keep an eye out for those as well. Let's look at a couple more here. All right, what do we see here? Kind of the same situation, a little bit of choppy, even getting to a third bar sling, and you see some numbers thin, we're thin all in here. See that? Kind of thinner numbers, and it kept going back, and then boom, we zipped down with some real thin numbers. Okay, they started really getting thin right in here, like that 9, 11. That's right where it pulls back to, and then it zips on down. See it? I'm going to just keep walking through here. So I think some of these are the same screenshot. Same example right here. What do we have? Some decent numbers. We start to thin right here. We're thin right here. It pulls back up right to where it started thinning, and then it goes down. Let's check out, well, I'm going to come back to that one. You guys see what I'm talking about here? Where those numbers start to thin or the bars move fast. Like see right here, 944, 944. Boom, boom. That's where it pulls back before it goes on down. All right, so like I said, not a huge long webinar today, a little bit different. It's just something I want you to start looking at because like I keep telling you, what do? We start with a foundation and we start building with you, right? Okay. Is this the first thing I should have taught you to be looking at on order prints in the power play training course? No. The first thing you need to be looking at is what? The clusters. And then we talk about mini magnets and, the acceleration bolts, right? So we're building. Yeah, Chip, it's another piece to the puzzle. We're just going to keep building here. And like I said, I think a lot of you have not really paid a whole lot of attention to these numbers in the bars, okay? Because there's not a whole lot of reason to with most of the aspects of order prints that we use, okay? So, this is somewhere where you can start looking at them, okay? Dennis says, can you tell us how to get all the numbers in the cells? Well, Dennis, if you're using the C's, let me turn on NinjaTrader here, Dennis. If you're using the C's template or the C's OP template, you don't want all these numbers on the bars, okay? Because it's just going to get in your way. What you want to have is a separate order prints chart. If you want to see all these numbers, you want to have a separate order prints chart, okay? If you turn these on in the C's template, it's just going to mess up your template because you have to really have these bars spread out to really see these numbers well, okay? Or I believe they're in the room as well, okay? So you have the C's OP template, Dennis? Or you have just a regular order print chart? I'm not talking about an order print template. Okay, yeah, if you just have a regular OP chart, did you use a template in the toolkit on order prints? Or did you just add the order prints indicator on? to a blank chart. Okay. Yeah, all you've got to do there, let me just show you real quick here. If you have a blank chart, give me a second, Dennis, I'll answer your question. Give me just a couple minutes for NinjaTrader to pop up here and get connected, okay? And then I'll come back to it. Remind me to come back to it while it's opening up here. All right, so you guys see what I'm talking about here? As the market's coming down, you know, what do we have in here? We've got some thinner numbers. It comes back up and fills them. We've got some decent numbers in here, and then we go to the 9s and the 1s, and it pulls back. Okay, so it's just a little bit something different to look at. Okay, now, couple things here. Ivan, is there any significance in the paw prints? I don't personally use the paw prints a whole lot, Ivan. Okay, I don't personally use those very much. Okay, we'll go over those a little bit probably on Monday in the third advanced training, because I'm going to be going over some of those other, you know, what are the paw prints, what are the exhaustion boxes, and kind of just let you know what they are, but why I feel that certain things kind of supersede them. Okay, so I wouldn't put a whole lot into them at this point. Okay, with everything else that we've got especially for the power play rules. Okay, so a couple things here. How is this useful? All right, well, for one, it's useful to know just what we talked about. When you see those quick bars happen, or when you see those numbers start to thin, especially when you see them down in the single digits and zeros. Does that make sense? You guys can clearly see that, right? Okay, when they get thin, like single digit, we're going to get a pullback. So just in general, how can you use that? Well, it's like we already said. If we see that happening, order prints is all about being able to see into the market and know what to hopefully potentially expect the market to do, right? So when we see that thinning out, what are we expecting to happen? Well, a pullback, right? I mean, that's not hard to understand. Expecting a pullback to happen. We know it's coming. We're expecting it to be coming, okay? So for one, that lets us know what to expect the market to potentially do. For two, it helps us what? Hey, maybe I don't tighten my stop too quick right there. Like I said, if you're following the rules of the trailing stops, that shouldn't hurt you. But what I've seen a lot of people do is exactly what I was just talking about earlier, which was, hey, I just got in a trade, I'm up 5 or 7 ticks, boom, it zipped down, now I'm at 17. And I just lost my last trade. I want to protect these like 15 ticks. I'm going to move it up real quick, because if the market's moving so quick, then I can change my rules and move my stops quicker, because it's going to zip down 50 points. Does that make sense? That kind of skewed thinking there. I see people do that all the time. The market's zipping, and it's going to keep zipping, so I'm going to zip my stop up closer than I normally would. And what's going to happen to me? I'm just going to get kicked out, right? Make sense? So don't fall into that trap of, oh, it zipped down, it's going to keep zipping, so let me get tighter. Plan for it, okay? Quick show of hands, how many of you have started taking advantage of some of the C's trades and trading the slingshots? I'm not talking about the power slings out of swing levels, but just the regular slingshot trades from C's. Okay, how you guys liking them? Just the regular sling trades, not the power slings, but the regular slings. Randall, Dan, okay, you guys are trading them? Okay, so if you like trading the sling trades, and for those of you that don't know, there's videos and trainings on it, and you know, a sling trade is when the market's coming down and it just pulls back and makes a wick, and then it shoots on down. What does that feel like? It's like a slingshot. You put the rock in, you pull it back and get some tension and pressure, and then let it go, right? or like an elevator, yeah. Okay, or like you're a bow and arrow, you're pulling it back and getting tension on it and letting it go. That's a sling or an elevator trade. Okay, this is a sling, but yeah, sling and elevator is the same thing. So you guys like those sling trades. If you like trading slings, what can you potentially expect to happen when you see those quick bars or all of a sudden the thin number bars happen? I'm probably about to get a potential sling trade, right? You can kind of see them coming, that there's potentially going to be a sling trade there. Okay, so that's kind of cool to know ahead of time, right? Like zip, zip, oh, we're thin. Hey, let me start watching for a sling trade because most likely it's coming up. Okay, now, also, what are we really going to like about that sling trade if that sling closes down with what? Just in general. What else might really make you like that sling trade, a normal sling trade, if you see what in this bar? Or what would you maybe really like about this sling trade if this bar closed and left what right here at the top of that bar? Mini magnet. Or if it left a cluster or trapped orders, right. There you go. Now we're building. Make sense? What I talked to you about the other day, start looking for what? These combinations. Okay? Hey, I understand just on bars that pullback is a sling trade potential. Oh, cool. Now I look at order prints and know I got quick bars or I got thin bars, which give me a heads up that potential sling trade might be coming, right? Building more on that foundation. I also know I'm going to like that sling trade even better if I have that other thing we built on, which is a mini magnet. This doesn't have one, but if it did, I also know if it had, yes, great class, you got it. Mini magnet, cluster, Dan said trapped orders. Those extra things are going to boost it. See where I'm going with this? We're building here. We're building here. Now we're knowing not just, hey, this is a potential trade. Hey, now I can see through order prints that potential trade might be coming. Hey, now I can narrow down to the ones I like the best that have that mini magnet or that cluster or maybe some acceleration bolts. So now I'm able to kind of piece the market together a little more and add some more pieces onto it. Does that make sense? That's how you can kind of start piecing those together. Okay. Chip, you asked a question. So after the first run and pullback, it looks okay. Chip, you're just setting me up this whole time, aren't you, buddy? We're about to get to that. Okay. So that makes sense so far. Like I said, a little bit different webinar here. Okay. To where it's more of, hey, start looking for these things, start seeing what to expect. Now, what is something that we've talked a little about here multiple times through some of these screenshots? Or what was I talking about that, hey, this is something Lori and I were talking about. I think Chip set me up originally for it too. Of yeah, sometimes that zip happens right at my entry. Or like I was talking to you about, hey, if it's kind of a breakout area, it'll happen. A lot of times you'll see that pullback happen to the breakout area, but also you'll see it happen after it thins. Or like I said, Lori and I were talking about how, yeah, you'll get in some type of trade, you'll be up 5 or 7 ticks, and then you see that. I want you to pay attention I want you to look at this from 2 different angles. Okay? 2 different angles. These areas where you got to see them coming and keep your stops a little further away to get through them are always right at the beginning of the trend, or most times right at the beginning of the trend. Okay, or at least what I'm trying to teach you about today is right at the beginning of the trend. Or like Chip said, right when I enter, or right when it pulls back to the entry. Okay, we're looking at like, yeah, Randall says, yeah, I see that like on the third or fourth bar. Exactly. Just like Lori was saying, I enter a trade, I'm up 5 or 7 ticks in profit, then it zips down 10, pulls back, and then zips. Okay? So look for these oftentimes right towards the beginning of a new trend or a new reversal. Okay? Now, keeping that in mind, let's kind of go back here. So we talked about it right here, right? A little breakout, zip, and a pullback, and then we go on down. But then what do you see again down here towards the end? 1104, 1104, 1104. Zip, zip, zip. Sometimes you'll get more than one zip in those trends, correct? Now, after the market's made a pretty good move, okay? Like here, the market had just reversed, we got our zip, we got our pullback, and then we got a zip. And then what did it do? Boom. So in that initial zip, just a few bars in, you want to expect, don't pull my stop too close, give it room to make the retrace, and then let it zip on down. But after you've moved, what, from 58.05 down to 57.86, 20 points. 20 points on NQ is how many ticks? 80 ticks. So if the market's just made a reversal or just set up some type of entry for me, and within a few bars, oh, I get a zip, I pulled my stop up, gave it room, let it zip on down. Now I see another zip happening after an 80 tick move. Do I say, oh, let me do the same thing and pull my stop way up to let this thing zip after 80 ticks and pull back and keep going another 80 ticks? What does common sense kind of tell you? Yeah, take profit, pull the stop down, tighten up. Especially if, and this chart doesn't have it on it because it's kind of a test, especially after 80 ticks, I've already had that retrace, I've had some slings or elevators, it zips down. What would be another thing that would tell me, hey, maybe I need to tighten now? What if there was a strong what down here? Level, or after a zip, started some chop. After this zip and I pulled tight, this bar started taking a while and the bar timer kind of pulled up, and maybe a cluster, or there's a deviation level there, or there might, yep, Randall, there you go. Or what? Maybe there was an old line right here that was yellow, meaning it was a what? Mini magnet from before. I think, Ivan, you said something about it. It's interesting to look at the previous mini magnet and see the market pull back at those levels. Right, Ivan? So if there was a mini magnet down here from before, and there's a good run, and you see a zip, and right underneath that zip is a deviation level, a mini magnet, right? So you guys see that? We've been so focused on bar timer for looking at what? Long time of bars, because we want to be able to see that to help us fit into seeing chop. So what I'm trying to show you here is the flip side of the bar timer. As opposed to looking at the long bars, also pay attention to the zip bars. The zip bars in time and the zip bars in number, volume. Does that make sense, guys? Let's see if we can look at anything else here. So right here, yep, market breaks out, and just a couple of bars, we start to thin out, we get a pullback, then it moves on down, and these, after that sling bar right there, these bars move pretty quick, right? 946, 946, 946, 947. We had some thinning out. Well, what did the market do? It came up here from like the 5804 down to 5794, so that's 10 points, that's 40 ticks. After I'm down 40 ticks, a 40 tick move, and I see any kind of zip, again, especially if there's levels, especially if there's anything else, after a 40 tick move and a zip, I'm not looking to pull the stop back and hope for more zip. Okay, I'd hope for it, but I'm not going to plan on it. I'm going to tighten up. If after 40 ticks of move or 80 ticks of move and I get a zip and there's a level, yeah, Randall, be happy. You just got 40 ticks. So, little quiz question here. Had a trade set up, had one pullback, had a zip and a pullback, it zips, I'm down 40 points, right? Or the market's moved 40 ticks. There's a mini magnet down here, there's a level down here. Do I leave my stop at bar close plus 4? Am I really going to let the market zip and pull all the way back up here and give back 20 ticks of profit? Or am I pretty happy that I'm up 40 ticks? I'm reading the market and reading everything. I'm thinking outside of the box. What would I do if I was only following, what did we talk about the last couple of days? ABC and 1, 2, 3, right? What's the 1, 2, 3 of the basic trailing stop? Bar range plus 4, right? That's the 1, 2, 3. That's the rules, correct? Yeah? But if I'm using my brain and using my head and thinking outside of the box, and I'm trying to become a student of the market and a student of trading and a student of order prints, is that the time after I see that or that 80 ticks, is this the time to go with 1, 2, 3 or ABC? Yeah. Does that make sense? Does that even help, again, clarify the difference between what I mean by ABC and 1, 2, 3? I'm using my head because I'm just simply looking at what the market's telling me. It's made a 40 or 80 tick move. It's coming down to a level. We've made a full deviation, 1 deviation move or half deviation move or whatever it might be. And I see a last zip. A last big push down. Maybe I'm also seeing a big spike of VAD there. Or the opposite. Maybe I'm seeing that zip down and I see major divergence in VAD there. Right? So now we're adding on looking at VAD. Or I see the oscillation detector, on that big push down compared to, maybe there was a retrace. I'm looking at VAD or oscillation detector, and I'm seeing that last push down towards a level, towards a mini magnet, had a lot less volume in it than the last one. It's a retrace. I'm not going with 1, 2, 3 there. I'm looking at ABC and looking at the market going, it's time to tighten up. Possible pullback or reversal. Does that make sense, guys? I mean, I'm not sure how else to really show this more clearly, but I always want to make sure that I know that sometimes my training to you can come across, I've said this before, can come across very elementary or very repetitive. But if I can't teach you something that's usable, like if you can't see it, understand it, actually get off this webinar and use it and do something with it, then I'm just talking to you. You know what I mean? Yeah, sometimes we'll do webinars that are about mentality and psychology, and you need those. But if I'm just talking philosophy to you, I mean, okay, that's cool, but you need to be able to have something that you can actually see and use and actually start looking out for. Okay? Let's see here. Yeah, it's real world training. Exactly, Randall. Chip. So are you just exiting then? If you pull stops down closer, to what point are you adjusting? Well, if it was me, Chip, like, okay, are you asking, like, for example, on this screenshot here? And again, I don't have a C's chart up to, let's see here. This is 821. These are some of my older screenshots. I don't have a C's chart up to actually tell me, you know, was there a level there or anything like that. But at that point, after 80 tick move, level or no level, let me just take a look here. What is it? And also this was, okay, this might be a bad example, Chip, because this is right at open. I wouldn't have been trading right at open anyway, but it's still, it's an example to prove my point, okay? But what I would probably be doing here is after that zip down, me personally, okay, I'm definitely not going to leave my stop at bar range +4. At this point here, I'm expecting a pullback, if not a reversal. I'm probably, after 80 ticks, I'm probably just getting out myself. But if I want to give it any room, where I would move my personal stop to is probably the point of control on this bar back. Okay, like I'll give it a little room to do just like a little pop and shoot on down, but I'm not going to give up much more than that point of control bar. Probably I'd have it one tick above the point of control, because we've seen how there's a lot of times bars will pull back to that point of control. I think Ivan, I think you pointed that out on one of the screenshots from earlier, right? Okay, so I'm tightening. After 80 ticks, I'm probably super tight and I'm just out, Chip. But worst case, if I wanted to give any little room, I'm probably one tick above that point of control right there. Okay, and let me pull up C's. I think I actually have, oh, thank you, Lori. I was actually scrolling back here. What is this? 821 at open. Let me just take a peek here. Lori sent me a screenshot on my other computer here. Let me see if I can transfer this over. Let's just take a look here. 821 in Q. That was at 9:33. Let's see here. What level are we coming down there to, Lori? I'm having trouble pulling up that screenshot. Oh, here we go. I found it on my C's. Okay. Yeah, I pulled up a chart and went back to that day. Okay. So here we are. We're breaking down, right? That's that breakdown right there. And it makes that final little zip. And what do we have here? Okay. See, what is this green line right here? Anybody know what that green line is? That's back over here. Power line. Yeah. Power line. Okay. That's a previous power line from an apex pattern. What's right below it? Low of the day. Okay. Another thing that we haven't really done much training on that we're going to talk about next week is, have you guys ever wondered what this stuff in the background is? See these little graphs in the background? See them? Right here, it comes out to here. We got a thinner one and a thinner one and then real thin. Those are called ICE volume nodes, okay, of extreme, at those price levels, extreme volume nodes. Notice, just real quick here, see right here in this breakout area, these were pretty big nodes, and then it makes like a valley here. See that? There's not a ton, there wasn't a ton of volume yesterday at these price levels compared to here. I don't want to get too deep into this. We're going to talk about it next week. But see how these are shooting way out? These were high volume areas. Then all of a sudden it thins way out in here. And then where does it shoot back out again? Kind of what area? Right in here. High levels of volume from previous day can act as what? Who can tell me? It was a really strong area from earlier in the day or from yesterday, or like a, really a magnet level. It can be a level of resistance, right? What have we talked a lot about, or you've heard Lori talk about, to where, like right here, say the market breaks out of ice and there's just nothing in its way. There's no levels, there's no nothing in its way till down here. Or let's say there was none of these levels right here, but what do we talk about in mini magnet training? If there had been a mini magnet right here, kind of call this like, no man's land, or what's your term for that, Lori? There's nothing to block it. Like, that's just free sailing, right? There's no resistance in here hardly. But it's open sky. There you go. That's what I was looking for, Lori. Open sky. But if this is open sky territory here, but there was a previous mini magnet down here, or there's a previous low of the day, or a P, what do we talk about being able to use these levels for? What multiple things do we talk about? If we had a breakout here and we shoot past everything and there's nothing in our way until this level here, what do we know to expect? Like if we were watching this live and we broke out, where is our first level to expect a potential reversal, potential resistance, support, chop, also to use as a what? Target, right? Of, hey, I'm letting it run, now I'm pulling up my stop. Do you see how it literally bounced? Where did it bounce? To the tick and then reverse. Power line. See that? Guys, to the tick. And right above the previous low of the day, right above another high volume node. So not only are we using these apex tools and the order prints and those fast bars or low number bars and all that stuff to tell us, what's going on right now. I mean, let's talk about this for a minute. Remember over here, where were those low volumes starting to come in? Right in here, correct? Everybody see it, right? Where they started thinning out, boom, boom, boom. So if we're watching this live, this is cool. If we're watching this live happen, we see what's happening now. What do we expect to happen in a minute? Or right after? Pull back, right? Okay, so we see what's happening now. We know what to expect to happen right after, correct? Shoots on down. While it's shooting down, what do we expect will probably then happen somewhere right in here? Like, we're watching live here, thin. Okay, what's going to happen next? Pull back, coming down. Okay, what's probably going to happen in the future around this level? We're already expecting that, aren't we? We're already looking out for that. We know it could shoot through with extra volume, but we're expecting that to be our next what? Our next battle, our next potential battle spot, our next potential heads up spot, right? And then what gives us even more clue that, hey, that's probably going to be a battle, when you see zip right to that level. You kind of see where I'm going with that, guys, as to where it's really, what have I always told you in the order prints training and you know, and all of that order prints is like a magnifying glass, lets you see inside the bar, lets you kind of see what's going on. You've got your bar timers, you've got your levels. That's the ABC, guys. If all you were doing was you were some brand new trader that did not want to learn trading, did not want to learn how the markets work, just give me a red, green arrow, would you have seen any of that? Would you have learned to expect any of that? Would you have learned to understand what was going on and why these things are important? No. You would have taken a red arrow to sell, and you're just waiting for the market to come way against you and get out and wait for a green arrow to go. You're just a monkey. You know what I mean? You're just a monkey pressing buttons. Does that make sense? I'm not being mean, but do you see the difference here? And I'm not trying to talk up Apex, but I kind of am. But do you see the difference of what we try to give you and show you and teach you at Apex compared to just give me a red or green buy or sell? Okay? And that's not so much me trying to build us up as opposed to try to make you see that you are learning. You're not following a guru. You're not following a red, green arrow. You're learning the market. You're learning how to read the market and what moves the market, what makes things happen in the market. And you're learning to think ahead of what to expect here, what to expect there. You know what I mean? Do you guys see that? Okay. And this is, again, me trying to explain to you why that it's worth. Okay, sure, yeah, I'll give Apex some props for us giving you this, but that's not where I'm going. What I'm going with this is, I can't tell you, okay, I'm going to go off on a tangent here, okay? You guys see how many webinars I do. You guys see how many training videos I do. I don't know if you guys even imagine the hours it takes to not just make these videos, but to make the outlines, make, you know, my scripts of what I want to go over with you, make the power plays, have Lori go over them with me, walk through it step by step, piece by piece with her spend hours of time getting me these screenshots that I need her help with and marking them up. Okay, like I can't tell you how much that saves my life and how much Lori saves my life every day, but there is so much that's put into this stuff, okay? And that's just at the end, much less before that of having to come up with these systems, with these rules, and all the work that she puts into those forum posts. And before that, all of the work that was, you know, put in by the programmers to build these indicators, build these things we need. And then, yeah, Chip, between there, after it's programmed from, you know, by the programmers, it goes into our beta testers who spend night and day beta testing it, going over hours of replay, hours of charts, working out any kinks, figuring it all out. And before all that, the whole time it took to come up with the idea and create the idea and all the time and testing just to get you one indicator and how to use it, much less all of these indicators and all of these systems and strategies and putting them all together. what just irks me, and don't take this wrong, you guys can ask any questions you want. What irks me is when somebody comes into Apex and I give them a free trial or a free 30-day open house trial, and they just want us to do it for them, tell them what to do, and they don't want to take the time to learn or watch a video or invest in themselves. Okay? Well, thank you, Randall. I'm glad you guys are grateful. And it's not that I'm asking for thanks here or Lori's asking for thanks. What I'm trying to say is we put so much into this and get it out there for people, and then people don't want to go watch a video and learn. And it just, not only does it tick me off, it makes me truly sad for them, because, and I hate to say this, but Lori will probably tell you the same thing. I can oftentimes tell you pretty quickly when we have a new group of people come in or a trial period, I can pretty much tell you pretty quickly who's not going to make it and who's not going to be around. And I hate to say that. And you know why it normally is? Do you think I say that about the people that are on every webinar? Do you think I say that about the people that are posting charts and asking questions and marking up their charts and going through all the training courses and digging in? No. I say that about the people that aren't willing to invest in themselves. And that's why they're most of the times not going to make it, because and that's what makes me so sad. That's what makes Lori so sad. Why do you think she spends so much time helping people marking up charts? Why do you think she put together the fast track or these groups? And what have I always said, even from day one of the open house welcome invitation webinar? What did I say? 30 days free, all this stuff, mentor groups, live room. We're willing to invest all this in you if you'll invest in us. No, I never said that. I never said if you invest in us. I said if you'll invest in you. That's why I asked you to go through the training course first, and then we'll give you the link. Like, show us you want it. Because, you know, I can give you a red, green arrow, buy or sell. People ask all the time, why don't you just do that? Why don't you just make it easy? Okay, if we did that, and all we did was give you a buy, sell, arrow indicator system, knowing what you know now about the market, and just that one example I went over right there, just that one example. Let me ask you this. What did I say? I'm watching it live. I see this happen. Do I see this without order prints? Do I see this on a blank regular bar? No. With order prints, I see that happening. I see the thinning happening. What am I expecting about to happen? The pullback. Great. Then what am I seeing down there? Levels. What do I expect to happen at that level? Got it. When I see that zip down to that level, what am I now totally expecting to happen? What is my reaction moving my stop? What, you know all that, right? If all I did was give you a red-green indicator, I say, okay, guys, I'll give you what you want. I'll just tell you what to do. Here you go, red-green indicator. Am I doing you a favor in reality? Like, really, am I doing you a service or a disservice there in reality? I'm giving you a disservice because you're not learning anything. You're not really learning the markets. I'm not teaching you anything. I'm just taking your money for some red-green indicator. And yeah, Chip said, yeah, you just blow your account in a week or less. Yeah, that's all I'm doing. I'm taking your money to give you a red-green indicator just for you to blow your account in a week or two. And then guess what? Then you don't have any money to trade with. Also, do you think you're going to have any money to pay me again next month? To do it all over again? Do you think you're going to want to? No. And guys, it's also not one of these indicators, we just made some indicator and here we're going to sell it to you for a one-time price and we're out of here. We don't have to service you. We don't have to teach you. We don't have to provide tech support. We don't have to provide any upgrades. You know, people have asked in the past, why does Apex have a monthly membership? Well, because we're not, you know, people say, well, why does Apex have a monthly membership? You can go online to these places and just buy indicators for like $300. Because we're not about indicators. If you just want an indicator, go buy it. Apex is not here to provide you indicators. The reason we have a monthly membership is because, well, I think you guys have already seen why. Because it's a group, it's a community, it's a family. These people are here every day. We're here every day. These are ongoing things. We have on-staff full-time programmers that are programming these things and always improving and always coming up with new things. We're here to teach you the markets. Also, a monthly membership holds us accountable to you, doesn't it? We're not trying to get, hey, buy this from us for $999 and see ya, we're gone. You're not sticking around. You're not staying as a member. You're not paying us month after month unless we're giving you something of what? Of value every day, every month. It holds people accountable to always move forward, always improve, and always teach. And that's what I'm trying to do here, is to teach you to read the market. And I think that was just a great example right there of one of the things that you may not have even realized, that even just in open house, you've learned to read the market that way. Who in this webinar can tell me that before open house, you never understood how to read the markets that way? Just even simple things like that, of volume, order prints, levels, what to expect. Did some of you even have any remote view of the markets the way you do now? Especially when you're looking at VAD and oscillate. You see what's going on and what to expect. Okay? Yeah, Chip, exactly. An indicator on your chart without understanding the market is just something else to clutter your chart. Okay? That is all, Randall, that's awesome. 3 months in, 61 ticks yesterday. That's awesome, man. That's great. Okay? So, guys, I'm not trying to go on and on here, but you know, you really just have to understand that this is all about teaching you to read and understand the markets. That's what Apex is all about. That's what these advanced order print trainings are all about. Is just building one thing at a time. Look inside the bar. Okay? So, in a nutshell, today's webinar, look for those quick timers. Look for those thin bars. Okay? When we see them happen within a couple of bars of a new direction, are we tightening our stop or leaving some room? When they're just in the first couple bars. Okay? We're leaving room, right? We're also looking at them to set up potential, hey, we might be about to get a sling trade, right? Okay? So when we see them in the first few bars, we're leaving room for them to happen. When we see them after a 80 tick, 40 tick move getting close to a level, we're being smart and what? Tightening up. Right? Peter says all your examples were down Oh, were they, Peter? I didn't even notice that. Yes, it's exactly the same in up markets. I'm sorry. I I just went through and grabbed some screenshots. Yeah. Yeah, same exact same exact info for up close markets. Yep. Okay. Absolutely. Let's see here. I like to move stops from mini magnets. Yep, hiding behind those mini magnets. Absolutely, Ivan, for stops. Marion says, when I signed up for my yearly membership, I was sure I would never survive the first 6 months. Well, I have to renew my yearly soon. Go figure. Well, Marion, I guess we'll keep you around. I guess we'll let you stay. Okay. So guys, was that helpful? A little bit different way of looking at order prints that, like I said, you haven't even thought about. Most of you probably don't even pay attention to hardly any of these numbers in here, do you? So again, just digging in a little closer, a little bit different way to look at the markets, help you to expect a few things, okay? Lori, do I do it or not do it? What if I gave you guys a teaser? If I gave you guys, Lori says I can't trust you. She said Randall in particularly. She said that Randall guy's kind of shady. Okay. I've told you all along, we're trying to keep you focused on power plays, and then we built in some new trades and some new things. And if I give you a teaser of something that's in the works, do I have your word that you won't blow me up with questions on it? Do I have your word that you won't blow Lori up on it or the Rangers, and that you won't even bring it up in the elite room? You'll just wait for it to be released. Chip says, well, it depends. Okay, I'll give you a quick little teaser here, but then we won't talk about it again until we release it. Deal? Can we agree to that? Okay. Who was it that said, all right, let's go here to the forum, Trading Questions Forum, and I think most of you have already watched the video or were on the webinar when I taught you the C's, right? The different trades with C's. Remember? Do you guys remember that one of the trades on C's was the touchback trade, right? When I was mentioning slings earlier, which one of you? Ivan, was it you that said, hey, you really like the touchback trades? Somebody was talking about that, okay? Do you kind of remember what the touchback trades were all about? You know, where the market's trending and it breaks through a strong level, okay? Without hesitation, without chop, without any slings or elevators. It makes a clean break through a level. And then what does it do? It comes back up to touch that level and then shoots on down, right? Remember that trade? You can go back and read up about it. Remember the cool thing about that trade, what it was we see it break through that level. We see it start to retrace. We put an order one tick below that level. So that order is waiting there. So when the market comes up and hits that, boom, it fills our order. But it's not an order to buy and go long. It's an order to sell. Okay? And remember, so the market pulls back up, our order's activated, and we ride it on down. Remember, the cool thing about this was, where is our stop? The stop is 4 ticks on the other side of that level. So how big is my stop there? 5 ticks, right? 5 tick stop. And if I enter this trade right here, just on this first bar alone, well, in this example, this is a 12 tick bar, but in this example, I've got almost, let's say I was using a 10 tick bar, okay? Just this bar alone is 10 ticks. That wick up to this next bar is 5 ticks. On that first bar alone, how much am I getting off of that? Like 15 ticks just off of one bar, much less 20, 25, 30, right? You guys remember that trade? That's an awesome trade, right? 5 tick stop, to get a really nice pop like that. Yeah? Remember, you guys gave me your word. Where did these numbers start thinning? We talked about it. Right in here, remember? The 9, the 1, the 1, remember that? We zipped. Where are we expecting the market to pull back to? What about here? Where did they start kind of thinning? Right in here? Where do we expect it to pull back to? Right in there? So, if we happen to, in the near future, teach you another trade setup once we get all the rules defined and do training on it, would it potentially make sense that if we know these bars thin, they go fast, we are expecting what? A pullback, right? And what do we say? That can give you a potential heads up that a sling trade is coming, but you enter the sling trade at the close of the bar and take it down. What if there was something we were able to teach you that there was an order waiting up here to get filled with a very few tick, 5 tick stop to take that down and down and down and down? How about that? Or in this example here, and you're able to take it down and on down and down and down. Pretty cool, right? Or what about here when they started thinning and it pulls back and you get 15 ticks and 20 and 25 and 30 off of a 5 tick risk? You like that? Okay. Calm down, Marion. Marion says, OMG, I'm about to fall from my chair. I need to have a plan where to spend all my money. Randall, I'm going to slap you, boy. Randall says, I have a question. Randall's already posting the chart in the room. Okay? So, you promised no blowing up with questions, no talking about in the room, not even going to give you the name of the trade yet. I'm not going to give you an estimated date on it. We're still working out a few things. I'm just giving you a teaser. Okay? Pretty cool little trade. And yeah, actually, man, Johnny just got me. Johnny says, wait, we need more trades? Question mark, LOL. Yeah, because all I've been telling you is you don't need any more. And now I'm telling you, hey, you're going to get some. We've got plenty more to give you. You just don't need them, but they're pretty cool. Just letting you know, there's a lot more here that we can build on. There's a lot more to teach you. There's a lot more to show you, and we're just going to keep on going. Okay? But nice little trade there, huh? And not just some random little trade based on some random indicator we want to give you. As soon as I walked you back through touchbacks and then started to say, so guess what? I'm sure 80% of you already knew what I was going to say right there, didn't you? Because why? Because you're reading the market you totally see that that's happening and totally see where the pullback will be to. You totally know to expect it, so why not potentially take advantage of it, right? It's those kind of things that you can see and learn and create and work with when you can read the market and read inside the market. Okay? Yeah, Matt, that's true. Makes sense, guys? Pretty cool. Pretty cool little thing to look forward to. Okay? All right. Oh, yes, Dennis. Okay, you were having trouble. So, Dennis, let me just ask you here. Are you going to file new chart? Okay. And let's just open an NQ chart, for example. Okay. And I'm opening a blank chart. Okay. Right? Like that, Dennis? Just opening a blank chart. Now I have mine default to the green. Yours might come up white. Okay. And then you right click on your mouse, go to indicators. Okay. Then right here you do institutional order prints. Okay. If you're looking to just put it on a blank chart. And then just hit OK. Okay. Yeah, I used to have mine defaulted to white, but Lori corrupted me with her evil green. Okay, is that what you're doing, Dennis? Just like that? But you're saying that you're not getting numbers. Okay. Are you seeing it like that? Like right here, and all you're seeing is just sell white like that? You're not seeing the black numbers? Is that your problem, Dennis? Okay. Yes? Okay. Hold your control button. Hold your control button and your down arrow on your keyboard. And zoom in. Okay. Remember why I told you you don't want to turn the numbers on the C's chart? Is because when you're seeing all aspects OP like that, you have to be zoomed into the chart because of the way everything plots. You can also hold down your Alt key and press your down arrow to make them wider, or your up arrow to make them thinner. The thinner you make them, the closer together they'll be, and you can scroll. Does that make sense, Dennis? Okay. Most of the time when people say, oh, I can't see the number, it's because of that. You just have to scroll into it. Okay. You can also go down here and with your mouse and move it like this back and forth. Okay. See that? You can grab the prices and pull the prices up or down. And then when you move around over here, it'll get your chart out of focus. You just go right up here to this F on the chart and hit F, and it'll pull it back into regular focus. Okay. Does that make sense? And does that help? Does that fix your problem? Okay. Now again, remember, certain things you're not going to see until the bar closes. Okay. But if you weren't able to see any of these numbers at all, that's most likely your problem is that you're just not zoomed in or out. Now, one other thing, Dennis, to make sure of, just to make sure you haven't messed with any settings that might have messed you up, okay, is if you right click, go to indicators, you've already got order prints selected there, right? Okay. Right here under display options, right here where it says show balanced volume, those black numbers are considered balanced volume. Just make sure you also have that set to true. Make sure you didn't set something to false by accident, okay? Try that, and if you're still having issues, just shoot us a help desk ticket, and we'll get it fixed for you. Okay, you got it. That's it. Perfect. Okay. Let's see here. Chip, how many bars minimum on the OP chart should you have if you have limited screen space? 4 to 6 enough? Yeah, 4 to 6 should be fine for you. You know, you don't, because in a sense, when it comes to order prints, okay, Chip, let's say when you're looking at the C's chart here, it's not, you really want to get a good overview of what's going on in the market, right? And where was that other level, and where's the next level looking forward, and right? You're looking at those levels and what did VAT and oscillator do up there and up here. Like, it's giving you that good overview, bigger picture, right? It's kind of like the aerial map. Okay. Do you remember the, I don't know how many of you watched the complete training on order prints I did? Remember when I said, hey, as an example, let's pull up Google Earth or Google Maps. And I want to go to the, you know, CFTC building or the CME building in Chicago. So I type it in on Google Maps and it shows a map of the US. And then I click the magnifying glass and I get a little closer. I click the magnifying glass, I get a little closer, I can see major highways. I click it a few more times, then I can get in and see some of the major roadways and streetways and areas in the city, right? And I equated that to like the C's chart, where you're seeing those major volume nodes, those major levels, those streets of traffic to be aware of, those high volume traffic area. That's your overall map. And then I zoomed right into like the CME. And that was order prints looking inside the chart, the bar. So yeah, if you've got limited space on your chart and you can only see 4 or 6 OP bars, I think that's more than enough, because you're not needing to see the overall hourly, daytime, full day picture on OP. You're wanting to see what's inside this bar and maybe the last couple bars. You know, was there a cluster? Was there a, you know, moment? You want to see what's going on right now. This is giving you the magnifying glass picture right now, and your trading chart, your C's chart, is giving you that bigger picture. That makes sense to everybody else as well. So if you've got limited space, I think that's completely fine. Okay, and yeah, exactly. You try to fit too many of them on there, you're not going to, you know, be able to visually see what you really need to. So, okay, guys, I hope this was helpful. Remember your deal. I better not get in that elite room and see you guys talking about those trades, or I'll get you. All right, hope this helped, guys. Take a look at some of this stuff, do some back testing and replay over the weekend. I really hope you see the power behind what I was trying to tell you of you're learning the market. You're not learning red, green. You're learning the market. That's what we're all about here. I'm going to let you go. I've got 30 minutes, and I'll see you again on another webinar. Okay? Thanks so much, guys. We'll see you in a bit. Thanks for all your good questions and interaction and feedback. All right. Bye.